I'll never capture her.
We thought you might know someone who could help.
A rescue op? What could go wrong?
Hey, Blue. You know me.
Come with me. You know you can't stay here. Pack your men up right now.
Hey everyone, found you're watching Craig's Film Reviews. I'm Craig, and this week we're going to be looking at Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Following on for the events of Jurassic World, the dinosaurs have completely overtaken the theme park on the Costa Rican island of Nubla. When a dormant volcano on the island erupts, a billionaire played by James Cromwell hires Owen, Chris Pratt, and Claire, Bryce Dallas Howard, the two survivors of Jurassic World, to return to the island to rescue the dinosaurs. However, it soon turns out that they are being set up, and the mission is actually to steal the dinosaurs and then sell them on the black market as weapons to the highest bidder. In an attempt to stop this, Owen and Claire, along with the billionaire's granddaughter, find themselves trapped in a secluded mansion, being hunted by a fearsome new dinosaur, the Indoraptor, and face a battle for survival. So they switched out directors this time. Colin Trevorrow directed Jurassic World, a phenomenal hit, made $1 billion worldwide. Mixed reviews, it has to be said. I'm not a massive fan of it. I quite enjoyed it when I first saw it. It's a fairly entertaining film, but doesn't hold a candle to the first Jurassic Park movie, and it's got a lot of problems with it. We'll get into that in a minute. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I think, is an improvement on that. It's still not quite as good as the first Jurassic Park. I don't think any film is going to be. But Jurassic is much better than any other Jurassic Park sequels. And it's probably the second best Jurassic Park film, I think. I know a lot of that is down to their choice of director. J.A. Bayona, he's a horror director, I think you would class him as. He's, unlike Colin Trevorrow, who comes from a comedy drama background. He directed Safety Not Guaranteed, a small independent comedy drama with a little bit of sci-fi mixed in, and got him quite a bit of attention. Got him the job doing Jurassic World, and also the job doing Star Wars Episode 9, which he's now been kicked off of. J.A. Bayona, a Spanish director, he first came to prominence with The Orphanage, produced by his friend Guillermo del Toro, and they have quite similar filmmaking styles. Both like gothic horror, both have children protagonists, and they kind of have this magic realism built into a lot of their films. He went on to make J.A. Bayona, went on to make The Impossible with Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor, a film about the Thailand tsunami, and then he moved on to A Monster Calls, a magic fantasy about a young boy befriending an imaginary monster, played by Liam Neeson. He's had a fairly decent career. I think his background in horror definitely helps. Compared to Trevorrow, Bayona is a much more kind of visually stylish, visually slick filmmaker, and I think that's one of the biggest plus points about this film. It looks great. It looks much better than the original, than Jurassic World, which had a kind of very bland, washed out, very brightly lit sitcom style visuals to it. Very bland action sequences, and this goes back to a point that the YouTuber Patrick H. Willems, who makes film analysis videos, he did a video recently about how he believes that the best filmmakers in blockbusters come from a horror background. He cites Spielberg as the greatest example, and actually uses the T-Rex attack from Jurassic Park as his main point to illustrate his point that horror directors, unlike a lot of directors, they know how to get a reaction out of the audience. Their whole goal is to bring something out of the audience. So whether it's a jump scare, or it's nervous laughter, or suspense, and having them on the edge of their seats, they know those techniques. They know that Hitchcockian style. And he says about Spielberg how he began with films like Jaws and Duel, and then ever since then, all these other blockbusters have kind of defaulted back to horror. So if you look at the Indiana Jones movies, especially, and also Jurassic Park, he kind of naturally just goes back to horror. He naturally goes back to that kind of suspenseful techniques of horror. And also, the best parts of the movie for me, especially the ending, the final act takes place in a secluded mansion, and it's very much like a Bayona, like The Orphanage. It's very much set in a mansion, an enclosed place. There's a child running around the hallways. They're being stalked by the Indoraptor, who's the latest kind of genetically modified demon beast in this one. And it's very suspenseful. I found it very quite some well-timed jump scares. It looks great, very gothic atmosphere. There's one shot where the Indoraptor climbs over the rooftops as the lightning's coming down, and it roars, and the music's very like cool music, like oh, like it's a real gothic horror, almost Tim Burton, Guillermo del Toro style. And I think it really gives a different flavour to the movie. I think it really gives something different, really new to the genre, to the series, and that's one of the plus points. I mean, the film looks great anyway. It's shot in anamorphic. The first one that's been shot in that anamorphic widescreen format. Some people, the original Jurassic Park ones were filmed, going back in, this is getting a bit down a technical rabbit hole here, but if you're interested, was shot in the 1.85 to 1 ratio, which has got a very high vertical screen image. Spielberg did this so he could get the dinosaurs in the same frame as human characters to highlight the scale. Anamorphic is a much more kind of flatter, more slick and stylish look, and that's why this one looks so different to the other films, I think. Also, Bayona's quite good with images. There's some quite nice little bits of little images, little shots here and there. I just think it looks very slick, and it's very well directed and very nice lighting. So I think it looks great. And the suspenseful sequences really work. I was really on the edge of my seats, and at the end, especially in the final sequence, I think it's very well directed for a blockbuster. However, it is before I get onto some of the negative points, I think it's an improvement on Jurassic World, which I felt, and Williams talks about this in his video as well, about Colin Trevorrow comes from a comedy drama background. He's not very familiar with action sequences or set pieces. There's no suspense in his action scenes in that film. Everything kind of gets turned into action comedy with Jurassic Park, in Jurassic World, which I don't think really fits the Jurassic Park formula or the series. It works with Marvel, and it feels like that was trying to ape that Marvel style, but everything in that movie felt like almost like a spoof. Chris Pratt was almost like a spoof character of an action hero, spoof depiction of an action hero, and I don't know if it quite fit with the Jurassic Park world. I don't think, for me, and I think this move to gothic horror really does fit the series quite well. So that's what I think is the main improvement on it. He's toned down a lot of the silly comedy that was kind of ruined Jurassic World, I think, a little bit, and he's kind of toned down some of the more silly aspects of like say Chris Pratt's character and Bryce Dallas Howard running around in high heels, which is he kind of smoothed off some of those edges in this one. He's a bit more comfortable with the character work as well, although the big failures I think with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is that it's not, there's still a lot of the plot is dumb. Like by now, surely people would have realised by now not to start cloning dinosaurs or trying to steal dinosaurs. Have we not learnt from Aliens that you can't turn these creatures into to weapons anymore? It's not the best idea. I don't know. And then and going back to the island, would you really go back to the island after all the stuff that's happened to you before? And it's got this confused tone, which is another big problem with Jurassic World. And also, I think actually with Jurassic Park in general, the original Jurassic Park movie, Spielberg wants you to be in awe of the dinosaurs and afraid of them at the same time, which I don't quite. With Jaws, for example, out and out horror movie, we're supposed to be scared of the shark all the time. Jurassic Park, I don't think we're supposed to think, oh shit, the dinosaurs are coming after us, but then also we're supposed to be like, cool, dinosaurs, which I don't think quite is a bit of it just kind of gets the tone just about right with Spielberg, but it doesn't quite work in a lot of these ones. Well, I think that we're supposed to, both the tone of the film, it seems like the message of the film, and in this film we actually have it spelled out to us again by Jeff Goldblum, who has a very minor role. If you're coming to watch this film hoping that you will see lots of Jeff Goldblum, he's in it for literally, if you've seen the trailer, that's what he's in. Spoiler alert. The themes of these new ones seems to be an anti or pro animal rights themes. Nothing wrong with that, obviously. I'm not one of those people that doesn't think that you should put political messages in movies. I think you should. That's what they're for. They're art. But it's very confused. It's 1 minute we're meant to think it's a bad thing bringing dinosaurs back, but then also we're meant to think that it's that we should protect them at the same time. It's odd. Like, dinosaurs are a danger to humanity, but then also they're really cool, and we should try and look after them. We still haven't really got to grips with the characters of Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. It's a little better this time. There was a lot of sexism. I think justifiably the film was criticised for its sexist attitudes last time. The main theme for Bryce Dallas Howard's character was supposed to be that she needs to stop being a careerist and learn to look after children, her nephews, which is a bit of a backwards philosophy, I think. And that she should just realise that Chris Pratt is just a really cool guy and should date him. Which seemed to be the theme of the last time. And last time, my colleague Bruce, you might be familiar with him, he's been on a few of my videos and my podcast. When we saw Jurassic World, he said it seemed like Chris Pratt was playing two characters. It seemed like he was playing a generic action hero, but then also playing Star-Lord or the Chris Pratt wisecracking guy. Overall, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is a vast improvement over Jurassic World, moving away from the action comedy of that film more towards gothic horror. Well directed by Bayona, with some slick visuals, suspenseful set pieces and well-timed jump scares, it is probably the second best Jurassic Park movie, let down by dumb plotting, 2D characters and a lack of genuinely new ideas. So thanks for watching Craig's Film Reviews. I hope you like this kind of video. I might be doing a bit more of this soon. If you like what you see, hit like. If you want to watch more of my videos, I've got a podcast called Scribbling to Avoid, which I do with my colleagues Bruce and Harry. I'll do a couple of other film reviews on there as well, and hopefully soon, watch your space, there'll be a few fictional short films coming out soon for you to enjoy. So, thanks for watching, guys.